All right, YouTube devils, how you doing? Friday the 27th here, Sam with you, and of course we're going to take a look at Bitcoin here on Bitcoin Friday. I'm getting a little bit late in the day here. It's almost 2 o'clock. A couple of things. So one, let's get our trading volume here. One of the things we haven't shown here yet, which you're going to start to see, it could be as early as next week. We have a full suite of day trading tools that, well, they could be used for crypto, but we use them primarily for futures trading that we're just finally going through the process of getting approval from Ninja. So I think that's pretty much done. But if you're interested in any of that, we'll start doing some video over here. We may have to set it up as we'll do it as a playlist here. So for those of you that are not interested in Ninja, they're not futures or FX day traders. But for those of you that have an interest in some of that, we have a whole line of our own custom designed Ninja. It's a tool. It's a suite of tools. So these are the premium indicators, and then we have a bundle of others that are useful, but these are the ones that we really focus on. So if you're interested in any of these, and there's a video to describe, so if you clicked on any of those, there's a video that will walk you through any of this, and it would be consistent with some of the things you've seen me teaching over here on YouTube for the last couple of years, but these are specifically oriented towards day trading in the futures market, and then they're all tied to NinjaTrader. So if that's something that's interesting to you, this morning, for example, we did the whole thing with the micros, which in this volatility with the increased margin and the increased risk, it was kind of an experiment this morning. It was really quite fruitful, and it was a good learning experience. You can do 2, 3, I mean, even 500 a day is very doable in the micros. You don't have to trade, 10 lots to do it. It's very, very doable. So we ran one for about an hour and a half this morning. We closed it out up 300. I think we were 305 when I stopped it here, and because I have to, I can't do it all day. But I think we'll have them going now for probably 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for about 90 minutes in the opening hours. So for those of you that are interested in day trading, and it's all focused on, there's about 5 markets that we focus on in the day trading room. That's an option for you. And of course, if you invest in any of our tools, you'll get access to that, so that you can watch us use them and learn how to use them, right? We don't want to just have you make an investment into one of these tools and, wish you good luck. So there is that benefit. So you do get some training from that. But if you're interested in that, that's always an option. If you want to see more of that, well, of course, you can always, if you're an educational member, that'll give you some more access. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is that we do have a live stream. 2 of my senseis are doing a live stream tomorrow. I think half of it will be available to those that join us in the free membership, and the other half will be for the social and educational members, right? So, I know I go over this all the time, but for those of you, you can join us for free. You'll get the first half of that live stream, and they're going to do kind of a freestyle. They'll just open it up to whatever those in attendance are interested in seeing analyzed, they'll be doing that. But social, right? If you want the full, if you want access to all of our live streams, social will do it for you. And if you want access to the belt system, of course, that's the option in educationals. But again, people seem to be like, oh shit, man, if I click that, they're going to email me all the time. We barely got time to send out an email. We're so busy. So that's not something to be concerned about. Really, what that does is it gets you into the Discord. That's how we communicate with you more than a bunch of spam. So not to worry about that. Deep dives, I've just finished the deep dive across crypto for the members. If you want that access, right, you get deep dive to all the cryptos, where you can do it in the free. All right, I know, marketing at front, right? My marketing guys say, tell me they have to do this at the start of every video. I don't know, I'm getting used to it. So there you go, it's only a few minutes into it. All right, let's get over to, where did I leave off? Here, let's go over to Bitcoin. Okay, so let's look at Bitcoin. So we've been sideways for 4 days straight. Now, I think there are a few little things that are potentially bullish. Perhaps they're going to be little tells to how we resolve here. So coming out of, so you can just look at this. So as we go sideways, right? So great example, right, of a volume profile. So as we just sit here going sideways, look at the huge volume node that's being built there. So we're kind of stuck here. Now, what's problematic here for the Elliottician is this can be counted multiple ways. And here on Coinbase Pro, we get a true double top on Binance to the dollar tether. We do get a higher high here. It's tricky count. Now you'll note I have the wolf range on this because this is actually framing it pretty nicely. Some of the traditional Elliott tools, I mean, we'll look at them in a second. But this is where I'm anticipating that we go. All right, so this from this pivot here. So here's the first. This is how I'm defining the initial range. Right, so it's just range expansion. Here would be doubling of the range, 200% of the range. But this count, there is an impulse right in the let's see, right in the middle of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got to account for that. So you can go 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Now the only thing I don't like about this is that we have to truncate the C here. You can get the A, the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not gorgeous, but you can get the A, B, C into that. So normally I'd avoid the truncation, but if you were just applying just the typical approach that we would have here, well, if this is 1, 2, and this is the 3, well, let's just do a little measuring here. So if that's the 1 and that's the 2, well, look where we go, right into the high probability zone for a 3. So right off the bat, you want to put a 3 there. Now, on top of that, I can get a clean impulse into that. So then you go, yeah, shit, but you got the truncation. Well, normally I'd be cautious of that. So the other possibility is, I suppose you could be thinking of an ending diagonal to finish, but the symmetry is starting to break down. And then I'm also kind of keying off of if this is sometimes trading view. If this is A, B, C, right? Now I know there are some that are counting. Get back here. I know there are some that are counting this at putting the 1 here. The reason I don't like that is because I don't like the symmetry. If I can move this over here, this looks a little bit better here in terms of length of time. So the symmetry, right? They don't need to be exactly the same, but this seems too abrupt to me. I know you can go A, B, C here, but that 2 relative to this 4, I like the A, B, C a little bit better, at least to my eye. I prefer putting the 2 here, and then again, I can get the impulse that goes right to where I'm anticipating it to go. Now, why do I hang on to the double bottom here? Well, I'd like to think that anyone who watches me has already done this. All right, so if I go right here, well, okay, so from this 2, I'm hitting that 50. Now note here, this is the initial push up that gives me the range that we're looking to double. So if I look at that and then put the 50 there, so okay, we double bottom at the 50. Well, look where the algo target on top of which is the assumption is there's another algorithm here that's tied to the wolf range or range expansion. They're right on top of each other. So this is a real candidate to come up here and complete this. But this 7K here, well, it's 69.90 here on Coinbase Pro. There's definitely some sell orders that are sitting there that are kicking this down. So what do we do with this? Well, the other variable here is that if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, well, I want to check 2 to 4. Well, go put it right on that tick. Get right on that. Well, we get a very slight break here, right? This wick, we get a slight break. If I get that right on it, and right on the pivot. But here, so we're coming right into the golden zone here. So potentially, I would look at it 2 ways. This potentially, you've got this as a golden corner, although this is what's giving you the 618. See, we're kind of outside of it at this point, so you might check. All right, so I need that angle to not be so steep. Putting this, we're going to go that high. Could be, right? 1, 2. Be one hell of a rip, but this better be building a base. The problem here is that this doesn't look like a 2. So there's an alternate count that I went through for the members. You come on up, join us for free. You can get that full count here. We're going to keep it overview here. But there are a couple of different ways to count this, but this does not look like a 2. So the alternate, you might be thinking 1, 2 before we go up, but the more that just chops sideways, makes me think 1, 2, 3 looks more triangle-ish in here. So this is starting to look like a triangle that's forming in here, which would make you think 4 going up for the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little. We need some resolution here. There's really not much to do until we find out. Now it could, if it comes down here, well, of course let's take this off. If it comes down, well, we'll just do the same thing, right? So from this to this, if we come down and get into this pocket, all right, I'm going to pay attention there. But this, I'd rather get this to resolve higher, not just because I'm a bull and I'm long, but just so I know where I am. Where am I in this count? Is this, because the other alternate is that this is 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Be more bullish, which I went through in the other count. So we're just a bit of a hurry up and wait here. Until this resolves one way or the other, I don't think there's any, it's a bit of a crapshoot here to be adding to a long here. You got lots of market acceptance, bulls and bears. We got clear resistance up here. Let's call it 7K, right, depending on your exchange. But the good news is here, if we can get through this note over here, if we can get through that, there's really, well, the next big high volume node is up here at the second target. You've got this big gap, which is all tied to the fact that with a free fall here, right? This is where we built. So there's no resistance there. So if we can get going up here, if this thing will start to kick, it should be a smooth trip up here to 76.54, because until you get here, you don't have much resistance, right? So getting up, which take note of where that is. That's the 100%. So then we'd have 100% if I do it this way. So that would be this range getting doubled up to this range here, right? So it would make, did I do that? Oh, pardon me, I did it wrong. This range up to this range. So that's what I'm anticipating here, but you're kind of late to the party. I mean, it's buyable, but your stop would have to be right here if it's going to hold that. So you can't. I think you're a little bit late unless you're just particularly bullish, right? There's a trade there. It's not ideal because you're buying, right? You're literally just on the assumption that this is accumulation before it kicks again. I can't say that I would put on a new trade there, but if you're, I don't want you to say, well, the guy on YouTube told me not to do that, and then it's up here, right? So you got to make your own decision here. That's not a trade I would chase there. I think you're a little bit late. I'd much prefer if this were to come down, then okay, I know where I am, right? I'm a retracement trader, not a breakout trader, and this is just we're sideways for 4 days. Interesting, right? Volatility like we've never seen before. In the traditional assets. Crypto, just in a coma. Just quietly, I don't know, calm before the storm. Maybe this was the storm before the calm. But it's not a lot. Now, here, but how am I doing? 12 minutes? Okay, so this is the other point I wanted to share. Just looking, if you want to know what every altcoin is doing with a few exceptions, just bring up total 2. It's the exact same pattern. And what's surprising is that this is not terribly different than what Bitcoin's doing. So the alts in Bitcoin, it's essentially the same pattern or slight variations of this. In total 2, yeah, this is deeper than it is. Right? So the A, B, C here wasn't this deep. But this whole thing is just one big, I don't know what, right? It tends to look more corrective, except it's not breaking. Every alt looks exactly the same. I mean, every one. It's with a few exceptions. So pick your alt. ETH, EOS, same. NEO, same. XLM, same. Ripple, same. Right now here we're getting a little sign of life in Ripple. Tezos, same. All doing the same. Now there are a couple of exceptions here. So none of this is tradable until in my view, none of this is tradable. I wouldn't chase any alts here until something happens here. We get one side or the other. Now, of course, I mean, here's a perfect example of it, right? We're just sitting there, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, but nobody's got the advantage. Just right, it's just a crypto coma. Okay, so where are the sparks of possibly something breaking out of this? So the few exceptions here, Dash is one. Now Right now, Grant, as I've revealed before, I'm a Dash bull. I'm a Dash holder. I like Dash. I think this is going to be one of the success stories in crypto. So same idea here. Now let's get this off. Okay, so same thing. Where's the initial push, right? So look how nicely the wolf range is holding this. So it's the initial push. It's not just grab the one. It's where does it go? Where do we go? Where's the first push? Now you could this seems to be, and then we come down to the 50. So this looks like the right spot for it here, and then the fact that I hold the 50. So if I come back down here, so this is the push. There's the 50. So, and the reason I like this is look what happens at the 100. Look at the 200. Stay within a tick or two. And then retrace, the retrace comes from the 200 to the 100, right? So likely there's an algo tied to this. But you got to find, you can identify it. It's much like the measured move. We can identify it based on the reactions that we're seeing at those pivots. So this, given this, looks like the appropriate reaction. Now, this channel that the rest of them have all been holding in, we got outside of it, but we just did the sideways. Look at the point of control. Now that's visible range, but you can see what that's tied to, right? It's just, oh God, trading view. Right, just all that, right? That's all we're dealing with here. It's the same resistance as its support is a resistance. Now it's both. Vegas wave, we're just kind of tickling the other side of it here. It looked like we were going to go. Now it's, just pause, right? Are we just pausing here? Where's that going, right? That wouldn't be surprising, but now we're talking about another double top. So then you think, okay, well, wolf range, so I can see something there. That would be more ideal. Well, let's just look traditional. Let's just look from our 2 to our 4. So if I grab that, where are we looking for the 4? Well, note here, look at the confluence here. So there's my 38. Look at the Vegas wave. Look at the structure. Look at the channel. All good, right? Until we just hit this coma. Now, here's the first signs of a spark. Now, if you come down, maybe the oscillator's a little help. Well, they all look the same, right? We're just flat. Look at the Elliott oscillator, right? There's just nothing there. Now, the first little sparks of buyers taking control comes here on this little kicker here. But this, wow, coma, just flatlining. So if this can get up and go, then at least we're like, okay, there's a motive wave, right? In this case, it would be an impulse. Now, it doesn't need to go that far, but something, give me something to work with here, right? This is not enough. So what is that? Well, potentially you got a 1, 2. Oh, shoot, is that an ugly 2? Jesus, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes the market just doesn't give you much to work with here. So even on the hourly, I'm reluctant to even try and put an Elliott label on that. So what do I got here? So 50, Vegas wave. Sometimes the Elliott count is just not going to give you enough to work with. So it doesn't mean you can't trade it, right? As I always say, always first, what did the algos do last? Second, is there any geometry to help me? Third, is there an Elliott count that's helping me? Fourth, oscillators, right? That's the priority, right? It's exactly what we'll teach you in the belt system. The Elliott count is never the priority, and what I find is it doesn't matter who it is that comes into our universe, they always want to start with the Elliott count, like that's the secret. It's when you can put them all together, that's the advantage you get. Right here, I don't know what the fuck that is. How do I label that? I can't label it, but it doesn't mean I can't trade it. So here's a 50, here's a pump, looks like we're going toward, is that a front run on that target? I'd like to see it kick a little higher. Am I going to get a third out of this? Is this going to play as a 1? I don't like that as a 2, right? So we're going to go up and get that. So I don't know what that is, or what it's going to grow up to be. I don't know. I don't like it. So I can't put a count on it. So what else can I do? Okay, well, there's a 50. That 50 is holding. So I can, well, I wouldn't buy it now. You're kind of late to the party here. But if this starts to go, well, then at least I can get something here. I can get a motive that completes. Now, the other one that looks like it's doing something similar. So here's Monero. Is this the count that all the other alts and Bitcoin as well hopes to grow up and be when it's fully realized? Is this ABC, right? So it would have to be. If this is the 3, this has to be an ABC. We can't have an impulse here. So, or the other possibility is we've got something bigger happening here. So it's going to be ABC of a bigger 3. That's certainly looks better with regards to what's here, but you can't. Oh, gee, nope, you can't. Can you? Nope, you can't. You can't get an impulse out of it. Well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be 1, 2, 3, maybe. Oh, you might be able to do it. So maybe you can go. Oh shit! God, trading view. I don't know why that bugs me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Going for the 5. Yeah, I don't love that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks like that's all self-contained. So I think you're stuck with an ABC here. So let's see. Again, the Elliott count. If it's not helping me, I will just, sure, I'll leave some numbers on here, but if it's not really helping me and it's not giving me any confidence into where I am in the count, it's secondary. So what have I got? Here's a 50. I'm to and through target. Am I going to go get something higher? Well, I know I've got this resistance sitting up there. So I think I drew that up. for the other guy, or for the members here in that count here. So here's the pivot, right? So this, all of them have this same little pivot. They all went down together. So if this is 1, 2, could that be my 3? Well, look what the resistance I'm going to run into, and that resistance is tied here to the little high volume node. So I know, doesn't mean we can't get through, but I know I'm going to have a kick of resistance right there. Right, as these short sellers are going to defend. The people that accumulated here wrote it down. Now they're going to start to defend. Doesn't mean we can't get through, right? But then you got to go up to the next one, right? Where's the next, right? Now you look at it and it's a 50 from this one. But until we get through this, I leave it there. 1, 2, A, B, C. It's not helping me. Until this thing, I get my pivot and I start. If I can get a 3 coming down, okay, now I know where I am. When I don't know where I am, yeah, sure, I'll leave the count up here, but algo swings, wolf range, geometry, you can still trade it. Don't let the lack of an Elliott count keep you out of a trade that's setting up, right? You don't need 4 out of 4 to pull the trigger, in my view, right? So, I mean, if you prefer that, if you want to get an Elliott count, the fib relationships, the algo pulls, the geometry, and the indicators, well, you're going to wait longer to get all of that to line up for you. I'm not saying don't do that. If that's your preference, right? Then if that's your preference, then that should be written down in your trading plan. Okay, I wait for 4 out of 4 before I pull the trigger. I'll go with 2 out of 4. Myself, right? It's just me, right? So, but you make your own call. But if you make that call, so if you say I need 4 out of 4 before I pull the trigger, well, when you see 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, are you going to violate your trading plan? Stick to your trading plan if that's what it is. If you need 3 out of 4, stick to your trading plan. Is that everything I had to cover here? I think that covers it. All right, so I had 4 minutes of a little marketing. I'm getting used to doing that. Okay, so here we go. I'd be watching Dash and Monero to see for perhaps these are the canary in the coal mine as to what we can expect over here. All right, not just got to go one way or the other, right? I wouldn't do anything right here myself, right? If you're not in, I wouldn't be doing anything until it's one side or the other. Okay, guys, there you go. Hope everybody's making the best of the situation wherever you are in the world. I appreciate you taking the time to give us a look here. I hope you'll join us over in the Discord. Like I said, you can get if you want the full deep dive that I did for the other members, great, you can get that in the free membership. If you want to be on board for those live streams, we're starting to get a handle on it. I'll tell you, those are harder to do than we realized, just in terms of the technology to get it set up. There you go. You guys have a good weekend. We'll be back next week. All right, take it easy.